that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds, whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside, a treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Hey, we are on court watch today. It's day 5 of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial. She is pro se, so she is representing herself in this trial. Now, she's already been convicted for the deaths of her children. This trial that she's having now is in Arizona. And it is they've charged her with conspiracy with her brother, Alex Cox, for unaliving her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. And they just started court. So it was perfect timing. They're going back out again. Well, and this is Court TV's stream. Court TV and I think Law and Crime. They are both streaming it. But, so I guess we'll just have to wait. How is everybody? Everybody doing good today? We will go ahead and just can do that. It's a little bit crazy, but it'll work. Come on it. Now it's a Monday. Absolutely. Good morning, Marnie. Good morning, Miss Christy. Dave, Clifton. Welcome in, everybody. Miss Crystal, Vicky, Virginia, or Vicky VA. Hey, 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 hillbillies. Lori Dane just stopped by to hit the like. Yeah, everybody hit that like button too while we're waiting. What does everybody think about this trial? I think it's kind of self-explanatory. I think she's guilty myself. I don't know how she can even fight anything in this trial. Let's see. Miss Lorraine, or is it Lori? Let's see. Hello, Elizabeth in chat. Hello, Love America. How will Lori wear her hair today? Up in the fountain ponytail? Yeah, she was a beauty queen, I reckon. I heard somewhere she was like a Miss Texas or something. Does anybody know what beauty pageant or beauty title she holds? Marnie says it's a beautiful day in Oregon. We are supposed to be up to 77 and it is sunny. Loving the sun. Yeah, it's nice here today too. Crystal says, I think she's innocent. LMAO, joking. Harley John, I think she's nuts. She is psychopathic, in my opinion. Oh, she's guilty. Oh, extended break until 2 p.m. per the other channel. That's another 45 minutes. Well, let's see. Lori's just playing lawyer till she finds that portal out of her jail cell. So her and Chad Daybell, after they unalived Charles, she hooks up with this, or well, actually, I think she hooked up with him before Charles was unalived, wasn't he? I watched a whole lot of the stories when it was kind of unfolding, but I didn't watch the trial. I think she's guilty. I don't think that there was even any point in watching it. At least that was my perspective. I think the most strongest witnesses so far has been Ms. Kay, her brother Adam Cox. Yeah, I liked Adam. I thought he was a pretty straightforward fella. And Kay has been fighting this fight for a long time to get justice for the whole family. I mean, you might as well. What kind of an unaliver was she? Like, was she a serial unaliver? I don't know. I don't know what they would consider her. There's different types of unalivers. You've got serial ones, you've got spree ones, they've got different names for them. And each name has a different criteria. But I don't know what you would call her. Miss Lynette says she won the most narcissistic award for sure. Cray. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Love America. I couldn't watch the trial about the kids. It was too heart-wrenching. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to watch it either. I have a hard time watching those. But, I watch a lot of trials, and I just always have. I find them very educating, um, and you can see how first impression makes a big difference. You know, if you come in there either as a defendant or a prosecutor or defense attorney or judge, everybody in a trial has a certain role, and it's human nature, I guess. You know, your body language, your facial expressions, if you're sarcastic or if you're likable. You have to be, the likability factor is huge in a trial. And it's very ironic because, you know, justice is supposed to be blind. Yeah, right. Lindsay, her saying my husband makes me want to gag. Yeah. Me too. Me too. She really showed her how jealous she was when that woman got up on the stand, that he had went out on a date with. I think they talked for just a little bit.
Right now. He may have
Sounds like they're
forgotten
coming
that I
in.
just start at 10. Well, let's take this couple minutes while he's on his way up. I had asked the advisory council and the state regarding our second trial if they'd be willing to forego the first day or the Wednesday of their annual conferences for the second trial.
Bless you, honey, bless you. Coal miner's daughter, she didn't want to tangle with her sister-in-law. She sure didn't. She asked her, one question, and then sat down. She's like, nope, no questions. No further questions. I don't think it would have went well for her. Per Nancy, don't flatter yourself, Lori. Her only living child, Colby, basically now has gotten to the point where he is pretty much done with her. He is doing well, but still has a lot to process as he has no immediate family left. That's sad. Yeah, that's sad. Man, Adam gave up so much to believe in Charles and what Charles was going through. Adam was shunned by all his family, and he still is. Well, that happens a whole lot too. You know, if you speak out against the majority, you pretty much cut off. In any situation, it ain't just family. I think families used to be stronger. That family tie used to be stronger in more families. I mean, we still have a lot of really strong families, don't get me wrong. But I just think that moral fiber of the family is just something that's not as common nowadays as it used to be. That other channel lied to me, she said. Several mic drops. In the last day of court, it made Lori look bad. No, you ain't late, Pinky Lemonade. I don't know what we're going to do. They're awful late having court, ain't they? It's already time to go get the kids. Almost. Apparently, Lori makes a, green chili chicken enchilada. Yes, and she has another one for conspiracy to commit red rum on the niece's husband. It was a drive-by pew pew. So she's still got another trial coming. So what is that? 4? The 2 kids? No, 5. The 2 kids, Tammy Daybell, Chad's wife, her husband Charles, and the niece's husband. That's 6 people. 6 people. And Charles tried to tell them. He tried to tell the police. Let's see if I can find that. We could watch that real quick. Let's see if I can find that. East Idaho News. Let's see if this is what it is. And we'll watch this while we're waiting. Let it get in here. Police called to Charles Vallow's home after Alex Cox, pew pews and unalives him. Well, we can watch this. Scared me to death.
Come out this way, man.
So this was after Charles was.
You know, no weapons? No weapons on me. All right, come on out this way. Yep. I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
I want to open my house. Please have a seat there. Let's get FD in here.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
18 seats. We got the gentleman out. Have fire rolling.
Yes.
Hey, police department, anybody got to make something now? We got one subject down, apparent gunshot wounds to the chest. He's right here in the living room. Firearm is going to be in the front door, in the front bedroom, laying on the ground next to a case. We didn't have any of that as of right now.
This happened right here, fellas?
I believe so. The firearm's in the other room here. What's up? I can't, what you said?
We just did sweeps or nobody else was
Yeah, I just did.
there.
Yep. I'm gonna go see if we can get this. You want to stay here? I'll see if I get this guy's info.
1, 2, 3, 4 shots, something like that.
Did you get the guy inside's name?
No, I haven't got it. Charles is the husband of the occupants here. But I guess he lives where? Houston.
You know his date of birth? He's from Houston.
Is this vehicle here? How did he get here?
Is it here from Texas?
No, that's my sister's car. I think he came in a rental car. I think my sister's in it.
I think your sister's in a rental car.
One Paul 18. Subject that's been shot is. So the guy that got this.
Are you on sync? Yeah. The people negative on the top. Keep it top. Copy. Several gunshot wounds.
There's a couple of shell casings behind it. Probably.
Shot many times.
What's the card?
I'm sorry.
And that's all we got because he's from Texas.
Okay.
So we don't really know much else about it.
So, sir, what I have is there's an entrance.
I'm gonna see if there's a wallet or something in here, bro.
If you see a car,
And I'll put it for that.
I would imagine he was probably staying in this room over here. I would think.
see anything of interest, just throw cards on it so we can remember to.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking for like a fucking wallet or something that's got this guy's. Yeah, something because we got nothing, man.
Yeah, we'll probably remember. I don't know.
Because it sounds like dude's like a friend of the family or something. I'm going off.
That was a short one. They're still not at court yet. They still haven't started. That's irritating, ain't it? We'll stop sharing that. Let me see if I can find let's see. Well, I saw it somewhere. Here it is. I think this is it. Okay, so it was through Court TV. Court TV has it.
So what's going on tonight?
I can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
Okay.
But she's lost her mind. I don't know how to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God. And remember the 144,000. She's come. Jesus is coming.
Now, this is Charles Vallow. This is the guy that her brother unalived after this. Not in the same day, but this is the guy who she's on trial for unaliving right now.
Next year, she took all the money out of her bank account today. My truck is gone from the airport. She went to the airport and got it. I just flew in from Dallas. Houston and Dallas. So
where's your truck?
I don't know.
Okay.
A good friend of mine's truck picked me up. I went to the CSI to file a report, which is the community bridges or something. File a report.
So you did the petition?
Yeah, they ordered a pickup.
Okay. What time did you do that?
Hour and a half ago.
Okay. So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said,
how did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, "I will have you destroyed," is what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna kill you too. Yesterday was
So she's speaking as a spiritual being.
She's not here. She's
Okay.
lost her reality.
Is this just all recent, or has it been going on?
It's been going on for about 4 or 5 years. It's gotten really, really bad lately. She goes to the temple every day and speaks with Moroni and Jesus Christ, and they tell her what to do. And now she came to her today, and last couple of days she says, "I'm not Charles. You're not Charles. You're Nick Schneider." I don't know where she gets his names from. She got all this stuff from these people in Utah who tell her how many past lives she's had and probation she's had. And she's was married to Moroni way back when. And
So when you came back, why didn't you just go to the home?
because she told me not to come near it. All my stuff is gone.
Okay.
I'm not stupid. She could have done anything.
Okay.
I thought this would be the best way to do it. With what she's gone through and what Gabe witnessed with me on the phone today, I thought it was best to have her. She's psychologically, she's gone. Something's happened to her.
How old is she?
30, 45.
45.
Beautiful woman,
So if we talk to her, is she going to be able to have a rational conversation with us?
Oh, she will. I'm sure she will.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just.
She'll probably tell me I'm crazy, huh? Is that what you suspect?
Probably.
Okay.
You're a dark spirit. That's what she's going to tell you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a dark spirit. Gabe's in me. He's our bishop. He's going to be a dark spirit. Whatever that means. Okay, you're evil.
And you said this has been going on for like 4 years?
Well, it's to an extent, but it's gotten really bad the last several months. And I've been trying to ignore it because hoping it'll get better.
Is she on any medications?
No. She won't do medication.
Has she been to a doctor?
No, she won't go to the doctor because she's a translated being, and they would find out that she's translated. She cannot be killed. She cannot die.
And that's what she thinks?
Yes.
Okay. Has she made any statements about wanting to hurt the children or anything?
Today she said with Gabe on the phone, "Come take the kids. I don't care what happens to them. Come take them."
Okay, but she didn't make a direct threat towards the kids.
No, not a direct threat.
Okay. And then she said that she would murder you through a spiritual.
No, she said, "I can murder you."
I can murder you.
And
she's talking in a
I will kill you.
Spiritual.
No, she's talking physically. "I will kill you because you're not Charles, and nobody will care."
Okay. So she at this point doesn't think you are her husband?
She thinks I'm Nick Schneider.
Who's Mick Schneider?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's the name she used. I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
I'm just like, I'm as bewildered as you are. This is so foreign to me. Normal people, as far as I'm concerned, but this happens. It just drives me. I don't know what to do. I need help, and she needs help. She needs help.
And you just didn't want to go inside because of the statements that she made?
She took my car and I suspect she took my car and my keys. I have no keys to get in.
Oh, okay.
No garage door opener.
Okay.
She took $35,000 out of our bank account today. I can't make payroll Friday for my company. She changed our bank account numbers. I had to change it myself to get back in, and I saw all the money's gone. I've got $7 in my name.
So, what's your first name again?
Charles.
Charles lives here with his wife and 2 children. Charles was away on business.
Third nephew upstairs. His name is Zach. He's 19. He's our nephew. He can stay with us.
Have you tried to call him?
Yeah, he won't call me back either.
Why won't he call you back?
No.
Okay.
That's what I'm worried about. I hope they're okay, but I don't know.
It's valid. All right. So his question is, he lives here. There's no orders against either one of them. If we can't make contact.
If he wants to let us in, now we're doing a 670 check.
I don't know how to get in. I can have to break a window. I can try to.
Where I was going with this, he was in Houston on a business trip, and then he flies back in to Sky Harbor, and his truck's gone. He suspects that she went there and took the truck. He doesn't know.
Use my wallet in it, so.
All right. So, all right. Is it this house or the one with the flashing lights?
Right there.
On the side of the road.
Oh, where those palm trees are? You don't have a hidden key?
No, it's in the house.
So it's not hidden.
KJ can open it, but we have to keep such locks really.
I understand.
He's a runner.
So the dog's gone too?
Yeah, obviously, he be barking. He doesn't bark much. He's a service dog. He's very well trained, but he would be barking. They wouldn't leave him here. He's a part of the family. So I'm going to go try the back door. I'm going to break the window. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's up to you if you want to break the window. If I was going to break something, I'd probably break your garage door, because you can still secure your garage. Once your window's broken, you can't secure it.
It's there. So there's just a big deadbolt here.
All right. Well,
Get in.
One swift kick will do it.
I'll do a mule kick. We'll try that first. You gotta get closer.
I'm going to try to see what we do.
You want us to enter the home, right?
Want us to clear it, sir?
Yes, please.
Door, police. Somebody in the house?
Here's my computer.
Oh. All clear.
She said, take the kids, I don't care.
I don't care what happens to them. Take the kids. I don't care what happens to them.
Well, that's not a direct threat to harm.
I know.
Everything she said it sounded very carefully subjective.
But
Nothing
she
could be
won't
interpreted
contact
as
me, won't tell me where they are. There something I can do about that? Because she's got a Infinity.
Did she say she was leaving or anything like that, or just anything like that?
Actually, she told you not to come back, is what she said.
Well, as a parent, she has the right to take her children, whether, who knows where she's at. We don't know where she's at. She has the right to take the children. You weren't home at the time, so she's in her legal right to do so. Okay. As of right now, the statements that are listed in here are provided by you, which, to my understanding, you kind of overheard some of them. Okay. Did you hear her make statements of wanting to harm or kill herself? Did you hear any statements of her wanting to harm or kill Charles?
No, other than she used the word destroy,
That's what,
which again, subjective. She could have meant a number of things, obviously.
okay.
There was definitely nothing that would qualify as a terroristic threat or.
So she didn't say, I'm going to kill you or anything like that? She
No.
didn't say she was going to kill herself or anything like that?
No.
Just some, okay.
Just the irrational statements about calling him a different name and saying he was a different person. There was a level of disconnect from reality that was a bit disturbing. But that's just my impression. That I don't have anything substantial to back that up. But just a quick conversation.
And when did you try to call the nephew?
10 times.
Excuse me?
Last night, 10 times today.
Okay.
He won't answer. No text. Look, here's his text. Last time he answered me was Tuesday.
But you were home Tuesday, right? Or you left Tuesday morning?
I left
You left Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning. I was It was last Tuesday, okay? Then yesterday, no word from her. No word from Tylee, my daughter.
Does your daughter live here too?
Yeah.
From what I'm gathering, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where I would go. First of all, we don't know if she took your truck. So you parked it at Sky Harbor on Tuesday morning. I would contact Phoenix Police, make a stolen vehicle report with them.
She took all my clothes out of my closet too, so this is what I got.
Start with Phoenix PD,
Okay.
report your truck stolen.
Okay.
Okay. As for tonight, we don't have a crime. We tried to serve this during the course of doing a welfare check.
Okay.
Okay. All the doors were locked.
This can't be served again when she.
Hold on, time out, let me finish. You gave him permission to force entry into your home. What I can do is I can do a special incident report documenting some of this information.
Okay.
As of right now, there is no crime. Okay. We attempted to conduct a welfare check here by speaking with your wife and also to serve this.
Pickup order, right?
Two separate calls. We classify it two separate calls. Okay. Normally, we don't do this after 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. It's
a civil order, and we're not even allowed to serve a search warrant without a judge's specific order at nighttime. There has to be specific cause that says that this needs to be served at night for some reason. So those don't get served at night normally.
This falls into that criteria, same criteria. The only reason why we're here is some of the statements that you made towards our dispatchers that you provided to them.
I just want to make a point that caught my attention. So I guess this is Arizona, but the case here in Kentucky where they went to serve a search warrant and it was almost midnight for a stolen weed eater. And they ended up going into the wrong house and they unalived the homeowner. So that was very interesting. That caught my attention there, which I know different states have different rules and stuff on things like that. But kudos to them for having a common sense policy.
He made the decision to come here to conduct a welfare check to make sure that your children are safe. Okay. Upon us being here, you gave us permission to force entry into your home. That's got to be documented regardless. Okay. That covers our end. Okay. So what I can do is I can type out that special incident report. You'll have a report with Phoenix Police. Technically, I mean, at this point, you can do a missing persons report, but
she's taking my son out of school.
But we don't know that. Well, even if she did, she has that legal right. She's the parent. She can do that. So we don't
permission. I mean,
she's the legal guardian of the child.
What can I do, guys? What can I do?
Like you said, you can file the police report with Phoenix. One way to try and get a response from one of them is say, hey, send a message to all of them saying, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. My truck was gone from the airport. I've reported it stolen to Phoenix Police Department. If you guys took it, you need to let me know. So, because what's going to end up happening is...
Yes, can I track it with that?
If you got OnStar or whatever, you can call them and find out. Yeah, whatever their version of that is. And you can find out where it's at, then that's completely up to you. But again, it's the only thing we're going to do, even if your reporter is missing, is if we find her, it's going to be, hey, are you missing? And she's going to say, nope.
What about the pickup order for tonight?
The pickup order is listed in our system. Okay. If we come across her, we can serve that to her and take her to Community Bridges.
Okay.
If she's found in Orange County, California, they're not going to take her to Community Bridges.
Okay.
Okay.
If they find her in Flagstaff, they're not going to do anything with it. They're not going to bring her down there. They're just, that's an order that's basically going to be held up around here in this area. They're not going to bring her down from anywhere else. So if they're somewhere else and they're long gone, there's,
to you, that part. But what we're providing is what we can do on our end.
I'll report my car is stolen from the airport and a missing persons report and check the school and tell them.
When you make that report, don't tell the officer who you're reporting my wife took it, because we don't know that.
Okay.
Make sure that you explain to him that you suspect she did,
Sure.
and she's in the company with such and such, such and such. Make them know that you have a
Okay.
handicapped young child, because if it comes out stolen, you know, and she's just driving along, we don't want them to pursue the vehicle to, you know, we don't want to put your children in
She'll be
danger.
in so she won't be in my truck.
But what I'm saying is just kind of, you know,
Okay.
let them know some of the information of what's going on. But we don't know if she took it. We don't know if it
If
was
she doesn't
actually
show up, just disappears. There's nothing I can do after a period of time when I can't see my son.
You'd have to go down to the court and file paperwork
I'm
for
going tomorrow to file paperwork for my son.
whether it's divorce paperwork or custody or whatever.
This, I can give it to the attorney so we can file it for,
We can't give you a copy of that, no.
okay.
You should be, if you contact community, you filled it out with Community Bridges, you can ask them what paperwork they can give you, but we can't release
So
that
you can
paperwork.
pick her up
If we find her,
if I say she's here, come get her, you can do that?
it depends on when you do it. If you find her at 4 o'clock in the morning,
No, 8 to 10.
Yeah.
8 a.m. 10.
if you find her in the morning and it's outside those nighttime exception hours, which is 10 o'clock at night till 6:30 in the morning, then somebody who finds her, they can take her. Like this case, where we came here to do the welfare check on the children, if we happen to come across her, we can serve it on her.
Okay. So that was Charles Vallow. I wonder, let me look and see what the date is on that, or see if it has one, if it tells it. Okay, so this is Court TV's description. It says March 30th, 2025. So that must have been when they uploaded it. Police body cam video captures Lori Vallow Daybell's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, on January 31st, 2019, 6 months before his death. Lori, who's serving life without parole for unaliving her children, and fifth husband's wife, first wife, God, it's like a Springer episode, faces trial next week for Charles's Red Room. And that's the trial that we're watching right now. But it's still, no, they can't do calls after dark. He was saying that they can't serve search warrants or serve papers, like they were trying to serve her with papers after dark, unless it's specified by their judge. For whatever reason, they would need to do it at night. They can still take calls at night, but he was just saying that they don't serve like search warrants and stuff at night, which it's a really good policy. I think it would probably keeps a lot of tragic situations from happening. Taj mom, I've always wondered how the cops in the video felt when they learned Charles was indeed unalived. I wonder the same thing. Miss Crystal, they are rocking on the likes today. Thank you, guys. Thank you. The trial is back on, they said. Well, it's not showing it on Court TV. Let's see if crime. There it is. Finally, y'all. Finally, it's on. We found it.
Hi, my name is Derek Baumgartner. I am a medical examiner at the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office. So I perform autopsies. I determine cause and manner of death for individuals who die under our jurisdiction in Maricopa County. run toxicology reports, and like today, testify in court occasionally.
Can you tell us about your education to become a medical examiner?
Sure. I completed a Bachelor of Arts degree in American History at the University of Arizona in 2005. In 2013, I got my Doctor of Medicine degree from the University of Illinois in Chicago. From 2013 to 2017, I did an anatomic and clinical pathology residency at Loyola University Medical Center. And then I did a forensic pathology fellowship in Denver from 2017 to 2018.
And when did you start working here at the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office?
I started in July of 2018.
Are you board certified in any areas?
Yes.
Can you tell us what areas?
I am board certified in anatomic pathology, clinical pathology, and forensic pathology. So board certification happens after completion of residency or fellowship. It consists of, in terms of anatomic and clinical pathology, a 16-hour multiple choice exam split over 2 days. And then in forensic pathology, it's an 8-hour exam on one day.
And can you tell us what forensic and anatomical pathology are?
Sure. Anatomic pathology basically studies tissues, biopsies, surgical specimens, sometimes whole bodies to diagnose disease processes. Clinical pathology is more of a laboratory thing. So think of blood or tissues or other bodily fluids that are tested in a laboratory setting. Also deals with lab management and regulation compliance. And then forensic pathology is basically studying what the cause and manner of death is for a person.
Do you have any ongoing training as a medical examiner?
Yes.
Is that something you do annually?
Yes.
So you told us that you perform autopsies. Can you tell us what that is? What is an autopsy?
So an autopsy is an examination of the external and internal aspects of the body to essentially find out why a person died.
And do you write a report after you complete your autopsy?
I do.
Does each autopsy at the Maricopa County medical examiners have a case number associated with it?
Yes.
And are there also photographs that are taken in conjunction with first the visual observations as well as any relevant internal injuries that you know during the autopsy?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to talk to you about July 13th of 2019. Did you perform an autopsy on a Leland Charles Anthony Vallow at about 8 in the morning?
I did.
And was that associated with the OME case number 19-05897?
It was.
You told us that were photographs taken sort of throughout the process of your autopsy, correct?
Correct.
And if I can have my paralegal bring up to the witness 152 through 179 that have previously been shown to defendant. Doctor, do you recognize those exhibits 152 through 179?
I do.
And are they all photographs of different aspects of the autopsy that you performed on Leland Charles Anthony Vallow?
They are.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit 152 through 179.
Any objection?
No objections.
152 through 179 are admitted, may be published.
Thank you. So when you first are assigned a case, do you begin with some type of visual inspection overall of the individual?
Yes.
I'll put up exhibit 152 here. In every autopsy is a photo like this taken.
Yes.
Why is that?
For identification purposes.
And is that the OME number we are talking about that is associated and that we see in all these photographs?
Yes.
When you were first beginning this autopsy, do you take measurements of the height and weight of Charles Vallow?
Yes,
In this case, did you note those in your report?
I did.
Do you recall that information off the top of your head right now?
I do.
What was his height and weight?
Height was 71.5 inches. Weight was 207 pounds.
So just under 6 feet tall?
Yes.
As you were doing an external review of Charles, did you note any injuries to the front of his face?
No,
Did you look at the back of his head?
I did.
Did you note any abrasions or contusions?
No.
Can you tell us, what does abrasion mean?
An abrasion is a scrape that takes off the top layer of skin.
And a contusion?
It's otherwise known as a bruise. It's a breaking of blood vessels that causes blood to pool underneath the skin and in the soft tissues.
So if we have seen photos of Charles Vallow laying supine on the floor of the residence, did you note any abrasions or contusions at the back of his head that would have been consistent with him being shot and falling straight back?
No.
I'm going to put up 153. As you were looking at Mr. Vallow, were you looking for abrasions on any other aspects of his body?
Yes.
Did you note any on his chest area?
Yes.
Where did you note those?
On the sternal chest and on the left abdomen.
And so external chest, can you point out to us where that is?
The sternal chest is sort of right in the middle of the chest.
So we're talking in this area, and I'm going to pull it in closer. Oops. So if we see this wound here, where are we talking in relation to that?
So surrounding the defect.
Okay. Were you able to make any determinations as to whether those contusions or those abrasions actually were made at or near the time of his, was your conclusion?
That they were perimortem or just around the time of death.
Okay. I'll put up some photographs of Mr. Vallow's hands. Do you look to an individual's hands to see if there are any injuries on those?
Yes, yes, we do.
Standard for your autopsy procedure?
Yes.
Pull this back out again. What do we see here in Exhibit 155?
Looks to be one of Mr. Vallow's hands.
And as we look at 156 and 157, would that be consistent then with his right hand?
Yes.
And did you note any abrasions to his right hand?
Not that I recall.
159, 158. Did you note a little bit of abrasion on his left hand
Yes, I did.
and a little bit more here on his fingers?
Yes.
On this hand that we see in 160, did you note any blood transfer onto his left hand?
Yes, there was apparent blood on his left hand.
When you were looking at the other portions of his hands, did you note any other blood on those?
No.
And again, 161 and 162, other portions of his hand, no other abrasions or contusions were observed?
No.
And no other blood transfer on those?
No.
Mr. Vallow was wearing a watch at the time, correct?
He was.
When the medical examiner is called out to a scene, do you go out there?
I do not.
Is someone from your office sent out there?
They are.
And are police basically told, to the extent possible, do not touch the body until someone from the medical examiner arrives?
Correct.
So when someone arrives at the medical examiner's office, are they still wearing whatever clothes they have on?
Typically, yes.
And if they have any jewelry or affects on, those are typically left on them as well?
Correct.
So in 163, is that a photograph then of the watch that he was wearing?
Yes.
Did you note any damage to that watch, cracked face or anything like that?
I did not know.
Put up exhibit 154, just so it orients better. What are we seeing here?
These are Mr. Vallow's lower extremities.
And did you note any abrasions or contusions on his legs?
Yes.
Where did you note those?
On both knees.
Were you able to make any determination as to whether or not those occurred at or near the time of death?
They appear to be perimortem as well.
I'm going to put up exhibit 164. As you're visually looking at Mr. Vallow's body, did you observe a defect to his chest?
I did.
Is that what we see here in exhibit 164?
Yes.
What did you note that was?
An entrance gunshot wound.
Okay. And 165, is that a closer up of that?
It is.
And 166, is that again another close up of that?
Yes.
How do you know that that was an entrance wound?
It has characteristics consistent with an entrance wound. It is oval in shape. It also has a peripheral rim of abrasion. And there appears to be a punctate or small little red abrasions surrounding the wound as well.
All right, so when you are looking at gunshot wounds, are you trying to always determine if it's an entrance or an exit wound?
Yes.
And so you're looking for things that are normal and consistent throughout all entrance wounds?
Yes.
And in this case, you also noted something about some red abrasions around the edge. What is that?
There is a red abrasion around the defect or the hole. And it's a little bit eccentric on, if you think of it as a clock face, from about the 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock positions. That indicates that the projectile was coming in at an angle, and it kind of scrapes away the skin as it enters. There are also abrasions on the opposite side. They are much smaller and look almost like pinpricks. That could be consistent with what's known as stippling, which is when gunpowder strikes the skin after a gun is fired.
Can you tell us When you're looking at an entrance wound like this and you're looking for, you said stippling, what is soot versus stippling?
Soot is combusted gunpowder, so it's like a black powder, while stippling is caused by, as I mentioned, partially burned or unburned gunpowder that hits the skin.
Does it basically burn the skin when it hits it?
It could, but it's typically, it causes an abrasion, which is just a scraping away of the skin because it's hitting the skin at such a high velocity.
Okay. When you are looking then at this entrance wound that we see in 166 that was in the chest, you noticed what appeared to be consistent with stippling. In your report, did you use the word stippling? Do you recall?
I typically don't. I don't think I did in this case.
Did you describe what you saw
Yes.
and photograph it?
Yes.
Okay. When you are looking at the presence of stippling, does that give you any insight into the distance from the muzzle to the gunshot wound?
It does.
And can you tell us what that tells you about the distance between the muzzle and the gunshot wound?
Typically, a gun needs to be test fired to determine the exact sort of range that it will impart stippling to the skin. But if you look at textbooks, for a handgun, typically the range is, an inch to up to 4 or 5 feet.
The closer that the gun muzzle is to the person, does that increase the amount of stippling that you would observe?
Likely, yes.
Would that also, the closer the end of the muzzle to the person, would that increase the likelihood of seeing soot?
It would.
Okay. So here you did not see soot though?
I did not, no.
Okay. So this, have you ever indicated that for this type of stippling that you observed, you believed it to be anywhere from 2 to 4 feet?
I did, yes.
Okay. And is that because there's not as dense of an amount of stippling observed at this entrance wound?
Correct.
Okay. Now, did you recover a projectile from this wound?
I did not.
So there was an exit wound associated with that?
Yes.
Showing you 167. Where was the exit wound associated with this gunshot wound to the chest?
So it's on the thoracic back, which is like the middle of the back.
I'm going to put 168 up. Is that a closer up of that exit wound?
Yes.
Okay. And put up 169. Is that again closer of this?
It is.
How are you able to determine that that's an exit wound?
It has characteristics of an exit wound. Typically, exit wounds are not round like entrance wounds. They will sometimes be slit-like, as it is in this case, and typically they're a little bit larger than the entrance wound.
Now, when you are documenting injuries, do you measure the distance from the head to the entrance wound as well as the head to the exit wound?
Yes.
In this case, what was the distance from Charles's head to the entrance wound that we saw in his chest?
I believe it was 18 3/4 inches.
Okay. And can you tell us, or do you recall what the distance was from Charles's head to this exit wound on his back?
I believe it was 20 inches.
So about 1.25 inches difference.
Yes.
When you are performing an autopsy, do you advise what the wound path is?
Yes.
What do you mean by wound path?
The wound path is what the projectile encounters as it passes through the body.
What was the wound path for this gunshot wound that entered Charles's chest and exited his back?
So it passed through the skin of the chest, the sternum, which is the breastbone, the pericardium, which is a sac that surrounds the heart. It then hit 2 chambers of the heart, the right atrium and the left ventricle. and then it passed through the 9th thoracic vertebral body and exited the soft tissue and skin of the left back.
So for lay people, it went through Charles's heart.
Yes,
Was that wound immediately fatal?
not immediately, no.
Could Charles have lived for some period of time after this?
A short period of time, but yes.
Are you able to say when someone is struck in the heart, could they live from seconds up to minutes?
Seconds up to a very few minutes, yes.
Up to, have you testified previously or indicated previously in an interview that it could be up to maybe 2 minutes?
Yes.
When a person is shot in the heart such as this, could Charles have still spoken for that time period?
Yes,
Could he have moved after that bullet went through his heart?
he could have, yes.
So would it be possible for him to reach up and touch where he was shot with his left hand?
Yes,
Given the abrasions to Charles's knees, is it possible that he fell to his knees after he was shot?
it's possible, yes.
Would those abrasions on his knees be consistent with someone falling to their knees?
Yes.
When you are performing an autopsy, do you, well, let me first talk. As you were going through the description of the path, the wound path, you talked about the trajectory going through the 9th thoracic vertebral. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 171. Can you describe for us what we are seeing here?
That is a trajectory rod passing through the defect that was created in that 9th thoracic vertebral body.
So this rod that you're using is helping to show the path of that bullet through Charles's body.
Correct.
And just to orient those of us who haven't seen a person this way, can you tell us, is Charles's head up here?
It is.
And so this would be down towards his legs at
Correct.
the bottom.
Yes.
Okay. When you are talking about the injuries to an individual, do you also determine the trajectory of that bullet through the individual?
I do, yes.
So for this wound to Charles's chest that exited his back, what was the trajectory?
It was front to back, right to left, and slightly downward.
How are you determining that trajectory? Is there a modem that you use that's standard for all autopsies?
Yes, through measurements of the entrance wound and exit wound, and then also observing what organs and tissue have damage from the bullet.
So let me go back to Exhibit 164. You're looking at this entrance wound here, correct?
Yes.
And the exit wound that we see in 168 to determine that front to back, and then you said right to left and slightly downward?
Yes.
So the downward is the 1 1/4 inch difference that you saw from the head measurement.
Correct.
Could that downward angle be the result of someone just holding a gun at a slightly downward angle?
Yes, that's possible.
Could it be also from just the arm itself moving up or down some,
Yes.
or a size difference between people?
Yes.
You're not here because to tell us which one of those it was, correct?
I can't determine that, no.
As you were performing the autopsy of Mr. Vallow, did you note another gunshot wound to Mr. Vallow?
I did, yeah.
Exhibit 172. Where was the other gunshot wound that you observed on Mr. Vallow?
On his left abdomen.
And do we see in 172, is that what we see sort of above and to the side of his belly button?
Yes.
Were you able to tell what we see in 172 here, whether that was an entrance or exit wound?
I was.
And what was this?
This was an entrance gunshot wound.
And again, were you following the same view of looking at all the same aspects of this wound to determine that it was an entrance wound?
Correct.
In this entrance wound, did you note any stippling?
I did not.
Any soot?
No.
So would that tell you that the individual or the muzzle of that gun was more than 4 or 5 feet away from the victim?
Most likely, yes.
Did you recover a projectile from this gunshot wound?
I did not.
So there was an exit wound associated with it.
Correct.
Now put up Exhibit 175. Where was the exit wound?
It was on the back of the left shoulder.
And is that what we see in Exhibit 175 here?
Correct.
I'm going to put some closer up photographs, 176 and 177. What did you note about this exit wound?
This exit wound appears a little bit atypical. It has characteristics of a supported or a shored exit wound.
What is a shored exit wound?
A short exit wound occurs when the body is pressed up against a firm surface while the bullet is exiting the skin.
Does that cause sort of this different tearing that we see going on here in that exit wound?
It does.
If a person was, for instance, laying on the floor when they were shot, would you expect to see a short exit wound in that situation?
I would.
When you're talking about something pressed up against the skin, have you ever seen a shored wound from someone wearing a t-shirt?
I have not.
Have you seen other shored wounds in your experience?
I have, yes.
Approximately how many have you seen in your years of working?
I mean, they're relatively rare, so maybe less than 50.
When you were looking at this exit wound on Charles Vallow's left shoulder, was the injury itself what you would call sort of a typical shored wound?
This is textbook worthy.
Now, just like the other wound, did you determine the wound path for this gunshot wound that entered Charles Vallow's abdomen and exited his left shoulder?
Yes.
What was the wound path for this shot?
So the bullet passed through the skin and soft tissues of the left abdomen. It then hit the left lung. It then hit the back part of the left fourth rib, and then exited the soft tissue and skin of the left shoulder.
So to be clear, the left fourth rib, is that in the front of him or his back? Where is that located?
In this case, it struck the posterior or the back part of the left fourth rib.
Is that sort of in the location where we see the exit wound right there?
The exit wound is a little bit above the fourth rib.
You talked about sort of the soft tissue. So when this bullet was exiting, did it sort of hit both the rib and the connective tissue between the ribs?
Yes.
Did you also measure the distance from Charles's head to the entrance wound on the abdomen?
I did.
What was that distance?
I believe it was 27 inches.
And did you measure the distance from the top of Charles's head to the exit wound on his left shoulder?
I did.
What was that?
I believe it was 14 inches.
So the prior shot had a 1 1/4 inch difference. Was this one 13 inches?
Yes.
So more than a foot difference between the entrance and exit.
Correct.
Did you determine the trajectory for this wound?
I did.
What was that trajectory?
In this case, it was front to back, right to left, and upward.
Did you also use trajectory rods in this wound to help better describe that trajectory?
I did.
Put up Exhibit 179. Can you orient us first on what we're seeing here?
So the placard with the case number is positioned towards the head, and then the opposite is positioned towards the feet.
When you perform an autopsy, how do you open up the individual?
It's called a thoraco-abdominal incision. You've probably seen it on TV as the Y incision.
So what we see here is that sort of the abdomen of Mr. Vallow.
Yes.
Okay. And what we see here is that his back.
Yes.
And is this the spine?
Yes.
So does this reflect then the entrance being down at this portion of the body and the exit in that up left shoulder?
Yes.
So in this case, were both gunshot wounds front to back?
They were.
Were both gunshot wounds right to left?
Yes.
The gunshot wound to Charles's chest was slightly downward,
Correct.
and the gunshot wound to Charles's abdomen was upward.
Yes.
The gunshot wound to Charles's chest that exited his back was not shored,
No, it was not.
but the gunshot wound that entered Charles's abdomen and exited his left shoulder was shored.
Correct.
Doctor, given the trajectory that you observed, that from the gunshot wound to Charles's abdomen that exited his left shoulder, and the fact that the gunshot wound was shored, would that be consistent with the shooter standing somewhere near Mr. Vallow's feet and firing at Charles Vallow as he was laying on the floor?
Yes, that's certainly possible.
Now, you told us that you don't go out to the scene, right?
I do not know.
So you would not have seen if there were any defects on the floor consistent with a bullet strike underneath Mr. Vallow.
I did not.
If you were advised that there was a defect on the floor that was consistent with a bullet strike underneath Charles Vallow's left shoulder, would that further support the theory that he was laying on the floor there, causing that shored wound when he was shot?
It would, yes.
When an autopsy is performed on anyone, is blood collected to be tested for toxicology?
If we can get it, yes.
Was that done here?
It was.
Were there any drugs found in Charles Vallow's system?
No drugs were reported positive on toxicology.
No alcohol found?
No.
Based upon your autopsy of Leland Charles Anthony Vallow, what did you determine was the cause of death?
Multiple gunshot wounds.
Thank you. The state has no other questions, Your Honor.
Cross.
Dr. Baumgartner, you did a toxicology report in this case?
I sent blood for toxicology, yes.
And what did you test for? Or what substances did you test for in that toxicology report?
There are 16 or 20 substances that are tested. Typical drugs of abuse, a limited amount of therapeutic medications, and then alcohol, methanol, acetone, and isopropanol, I believe.
But not generally like someone's regular medications, like for high blood pressure or something like that?
That would not show up on this test, no.
And if someone was taking testosterone that wouldn't show up on there?
It would not, no.
Human growth hormone would not show up on there?
No.
So just basically the substances that you mentioned
Yes.
are typically tested. And then if law enforcement were to ask you to test for something specific, then you would do that as well. Is that correct?
It depends.
On what?
The case type, what their request was, if it's even possible.
Okay. So if they were to say, we want you to test for a certain something, you would say if you could or couldn't?
Probably, yes.
Okay. And is that typical in your experience?
Is what typical?
For them to ask for things other than what you normally, the normal 16 things that you test for?
That would be atypical.
Okay. So normally they don't ask you to do that in a common manner.
They do not know.
Okay. And so in this case, you did just test for the typical things and no other requests were made. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. As far as the abrasions on Charles' knees, could those have been, you said that they were consistent with having been close to the time of death, is that correct?
They had that general appearance, yes.
And so those abrasions could have been caused by a scuffle before he was shot, is that correct?
Yes,
And not necessarily falling forward onto his knees.
correct.
And then the abrasions on his hands as well,
What about them?
that they could have been caused from a scuffle beforehand.
Yes.
Okay. I know that the state asked you if it was consistent with him, with the second shot, the shot to the abdomen, that it was possible that he could have been shot on the floor. Is that correct?
Correct.
But would it also be possible that he could have been falling when that shot happened as well? And then hit the floor?
Not really. If he was falling and still passing through air, not yet having hit the ground, that would not have caused a short wound.
So if he had hit the ground and bounced on the ground from the first shot, as the second shot was traveling, that could not be possible that he hit the ground when that shot was exiting the shoulder?
He would have had to have been on a firm surface to create that short wound.
And it could not be caused by tight clothing?
Tight clothing and short wounds is typically like a supportive garment, like a belt or a bra. In my experience, I've never seen it with like a t-shirt or anything like that.
Are you familiar with bamboo clothing?
I am not, no.
Or how tough that material would be?
I am not.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, redirect.
Doctor, if clothing like a t-shirt, bamboo, or whatever they're made of, would have caused a short wound, would you have expected to see the short wound also to the other exit?
Certainly if both exits were covered with that shirt, yes.
So if the person is wearing a t-shirt that covered his back and shoulder,
Yes.
then, and if that type of fabric somehow was restrictive enough or tight enough or stiff enough to cause that pressure, then it would have caused a short wound to both exits.
I would expect that, yes.
But you didn't see that here.
No,
Only one short wound.
correct.
The other exit, not at all.
No.
You were asked a lot about different drugs. Was there anything about Mr. Vallow's autopsy that indicated that his cause of death was anything other than the result of multiple gunshot wounds?
No.
Thank you. No other questions?
Are there any questions for this witness from a member of the jury? I do see at least one question coming up. Were there significant amounts of blood in the left lung?
Not the left lung itself, but the left chest cavity.
Does that suggest the heart was beating, still beating during the second wound or the second shot?
The heart could have been beating at that point. It's also possible that the heart was still and contained blood, and that blood just spilled into the left chest cavity.
Was there blood in the throat or mouth?
There was not.
Any other juror questions? Not seeing any follow-up from the defense based on that jury question?
No, Your Honor.
From the state?
We're asked about the blood potentially in the lung versus the cavity. When someone is struck in the heart through the different locations that you saw in Mr. Vallow, where do you expect the blood to go after that gunshot wound?
The left chest cavity.
And you talked about that the heart could have been beating at that time, or the blood could have spilled into the cavity. Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. If the heart was still beating, blood would have been pumping through it, and blood would have been spilling from the two defects in the heart, one in the right atrium and one in the left ventricle. It's also possible that the heart was either fibrillating, which is not really beating, just sort of quivering, which often happens right before death, or potentially the heart was still, but blood that was in it at the time the death occurred would spill out of those two defects I just described.
In any of those situations, would you expect ultimately the blood to end up in that left cavity?
Yes.
That's what you saw.
Yes.
We're also asked about blood in the throat or mouth. Does the absence of that indicate that the victim was or was not alive for some period of time after being shot in the heart?
No.
Thank you. Another question.
Thank you.
State can call its next witness.
Thank you.
All right, sir, come on up. You're going to stand right in front here and be sworn in. Yeah, come right up. Come right up here.
Can you spell your name for the record? You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
All right, you're going to walk around the court reporter and have a seat to my left.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Mark Sari. I'm a special agent with the Social Security Administration Office Inspector General.
What do you do there?
So I investigate crimes and allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse within Social Security.
How long have you worked for Social Security?
Approximately 6 years.
And as an investigator with Social Security, are you familiar with the reports that are created and kept in the normal course of business?
Yes, I am.
And for instance, are you familiar with sort of the meetings and processes and notices of award letters sent out by Social Security for survivor benefits?
Yes, I am.
What are survivor benefits?
Those are benefits paid to a recipient. For example, if someone were to die or pass, their children would be possibly entitled to benefits on their behalf after they were to pass.
When a child becomes an adult, what happens to those survivor benefits that Social Security has been paying?
They would cease.
What if a child is taken to or adopted by or guardianship is given to another individual while they're receiving survivor benefits?
They would transfer to that new individual.
When a child has a parent that passes away, are any benefits paid out to the mother of the child?
Yes, they could be.
How does that depend? What makes the difference on whether or not the mother gets benefits or not?
So it's a benefit called mother, child, and care benefits. So for example, if a mother is married to her father at the time of his death, she would receive called a mother, child, and care benefit. So it'd be a dual benefit for the child as well as her benefit for herself. It'd be the same dollar amount that she would receive as well.
So if the parents were not married at the time that one of the parents passes away, then does the other parent get any survivor benefits?
They would not.
If a surviving spouse remarries, what happens to those benefits given to, say, the mother of the child?
They would then cease upon that marriage.
Would the child still get benefits?
They would.
Were you asked to look into survivor benefits involving Lori Vallow and JJ Vallow?
Yes, I was.
In your investigation, did you also become aware of benefits being provided to another child of Lori Vallow, Tylee Ryan?
Yes.
During your investigation, did you learn that starting in June of 2018, Tylee Ryan was receiving survivor benefits from Social Security for the death of her father?
Yes.
In 2019, how much was Tylee Ryan receiving?
Approximately $1,859 per month.
Is there a representative payee for a child who is receiving Social Security benefits as survivor?
Yes, there is.
What is a representative payee?
So based upon a child being a minor, we would appoint a called representative payee. So that person would be the payee on behalf of that child. So they would have a bank account and they would pay money from us on behalf of that child to pay for shelter, clothes, money, that sort of thing, food, that sort of thing.
So in the case of Tylee Ryan, was Lori Vallow the representative payee for Tylee Ryan?
She was.
And is in general, those benefits you said are put into a bank account that can be held by both the child and the payee?
Correct.
Now, If Lori Vallow was married in June of 2018 to someone else, not Tylee's father, would she still receive that mother of survivor benefits?
She would not.
How does a person go about applying for survivor benefits from Social Security?
So upon the passing of the recipient, say a father, they would have to go into the office or apply online, and then have an appointment to confirm the details for that survivor receiving benefits on behalf of that decedent.
And so that's the normal course of business, is to have someone come in eventually and speak with someone about verifying different important aspects to consider when determining whether or not to provide survivor benefits.
Correct.
During your investigation, did you become aware of Lori Vallow going to an appointment with someone from Social Security Administration related to JJ?
Yes.
When was that?
On or about August 12th, 2019.
During that meeting, did Lori Vallow have to answer questions relating to her relationship with Charles Vallow?
Yes.
Did she have to, for instance, provide the date when she and Charles Vallow were married?
Yes.
When was that?
The date of the marriage. I'd have to be refreshed from a document for that.
Sure. Let me see if I have the right one here. I can have my paralegal approach.
It would have been on February 24th, 2006.
And you can leave that with me. During that meeting on August 12th of 2019, was Lori Vallow questioned about whether or not she and Charles Vallow were living together at the time of his death?
She was.
And what did Lori Vallow tell Social Security on August 12th of 2019 about whether or not she and Charles Vallow were still living together at the time of his death?
She confirmed they were living together at the time of his death.
Is that important in trying to determine survivor benefits?
It definitely helps the agencies determine if benefits are entitled to the recipient, correct?
Now, as part of your job, sort of working for the Office of Investigations for Social Security, did you become involved in looking at these benefits that were awarded to Lori Vallow and to JJ Vallow as a result of the death of Leland Charles Vallow?
Yes.
You told us you were familiar with the notice of award letters that Social Security sends out?
Yes.
And are those letters created in the normal course of business?
Yes.
And are they created at or near the time when that person goes in to make that appointment and a decision is made to provide those survivor benefits?
Yes, correct.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 213 and 214. Do you recognize what those two exhibits are?
I do.
And are those the notice of award letter sent to Lori Vallow regarding survivor benefits for both herself and for JJ Vallow?
Yes, they are.
And those are the documents you talked about that were created in the normal course of business
Yes.
at or near the time of that decision?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit 213 and 214.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
213, 214 are admitted.
And if I can get those so I can publish them as well, Your Honor. Oh, well, please, thank you. All right. I'll start with 213. Maybe. autofocus there. Okay, so what we see here in 213 is this the letter that would be sent to Lori Vallow on behalf of Joshua Jackson Vallow, JJ Vallow.
Yes, correct.
And we see it was sent to an address in Santan Valley.
Yes.
Okay. Does this letter provide or advise how much money that Lori Vallow would receive or that JJ Vallow would receive as a result of the death of his father?
It does.
And how much would he receive as a result of the death of Charles Vallow?
It'd be $19.51 per month, and also mentions the back pay from the date of death for Charles up until that date of the letter.
Okay, so monthly, the $19.51, and then a back pay of $3,902.
Correct.
Exhibit 2014. When Ms. Vallow went in on August 12th, would that be the same, during that meeting, would they have been questioning her with regards to both JJ as well as her survivor benefits?
Yes.
So this letter is from that same meeting.
Yes.
In 214 again, this one, we see that it's only addressed to Lori Vallow, but at the same 1658 East Sherry Street in Santan Valley.
Yes.
And how much money was Ms. Vallow set to receive as a result of the death of Charles Vallow?
It would be $19.51 per month.
Is that the same as what JJ was getting?
Yes, it'd be mirroring the same amount that JJ was receiving. Yes, correct.
So basically, she's getting about $4,000 a month?
Approximately, yes.
Now, in these letters and the other documentation you reviewed, we see her as Lori N. Vallow, correct?
Yes.
In your investigation, did you ever learn whether or not Lori N. Vallow ever remarried and became Lori N. Daybell?
Yes.
Can you tell us in your investigation what the date of that marriage was when Lori N. Vallow became Lori N. Daybell?
November 5th, 2019.
And who did Lori Vallow marry?
Chad Daybell.
No other questions for this witness, Your Honor?
Cross.
Mr. Suri, does Social Security, as a surviving spouse, can you get benefits if you didn't have any children?
I believe so, correct? Yes.
Okay, so if you've been married for longer than 10 years, you get spousal surviving benefits. Is that correct?
There are some rules for that. I believe that is correct, I believe, yes.
And so if I had been married to my husband for 10 years and his previous wife had been married to my husband for over 10 years, she would also get that surviving spouse benefit?
What's your question again? Who's the she part? Didn't follow that part.
Okay, just a previous person who has been married to my husband previous to me for more than 10 years. I mean, that's what Social Security does, right?
I'm not sure. What is your question? I'm trying to.
Okay, sorry. So if there were two spouses to a deceased husband consecutively, and they were both each married for over 10 years to that same husband, they would both receive a spousal benefit or could apply for and receive that spousal benefit. Is that correct?
That's more of an administrative issue. I have to obviously I'm not aware of all those policies for that kind of issue. So I can't really answer yes or no to that question.
Okay. So if it was explained to me when I was at the Social Security office that I could receive that.
Hold on. I'm going to sustain the objection.
Okay, but it is possible. You're just not aware of it. Is that correct?
I would have to ask an expert in our agency for administrative rules on that.
Okay, and what is your expertise at Social Security?
I'm a special agent.
And so you just investigate, is that correct?
Investigate crimes of fraud, waste, and abuse with Social Security, correct?
You investigate fraud, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But you're not really privy to what an agent might be telling a person as they come in to get Social Security, is that correct?
What they tell an agent, an employee, or what is your question again?
Yes, so you're not really privy to what the employees are telling the regular people that come in to the Social Security office.
I'm not there for those appointments, correct?
So you don't really understand what all benefits can be given?
We with OIG investigate crimes of fraud, waste, and abuse. So we are the experts for that. And we also have experts internally in Social Security we look to for guidance on internal rules that are more complex, if that kind of helps you out.
Okay. So you had said something about mother in care benefits. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, and it's the same dollar amount as the child in care benefits. Is that correct?
There's two benefits, for the child in care and also for JJ. They were the mirroring same amount, correct?
But wouldn't the mother in care benefits be for the child?
It would be if the individual had the child in their care, correct?
Right. So, but a spousal benefit, if you've been married for over 10 years and you didn't have any children, you would still be entitled to that. Isn't that correct?
My understanding is that you have to be a certain age to get that benefit, to be a certain age to apply for that. In this situation here, due to the decedent Charles dying, there was a benefit for the child only that was receiving, as well as child in care. So only two benefits were received for the child, also child in care as well.
So my question is, how is that determined by the employee? Like if it's spousal benefit or if it's a mother in care benefit?
It'd be up to the applicant to apply for the benefits.
So if you applied for the spousal benefit and they gave you the mother in care benefit instead, how would you know the difference? You just know that that was the monthly amount you were getting?
You would receive a letter in the mail. You also would be at the appointment very clearly told what you were applying for. It should not be any confusion at all what you're applying for at that appointment.
Okay, so if you were told that you were getting the spousal benefit,
Yeah, it's sustained.
if an employee told a recipient that they were getting a spousal benefit,
I'll allow him to answer that hypothetical if he knows.
if an employee were to tell someone they were getting a spousal benefit and they received a letter in the mail saying it was a mother in care benefit, should they call the Social Security office and clear that up?
It would be up to the applicant if they received a letter in the mail to contact Social Security and say, hey, this is the wrong benefit I'm receiving. So it would be up to the applicant to let Social Security know the benefit is not correct.
So if the employee put it in as something other than they told the recipient, then it would just be up to the recipient to correct that. Is that correct?
Social Security goes off of information that's provided to the agency by the applicant. That makes sense. So it's up to the applicant to be truthful and provide the right information to the agency.
So do you have a copy of my application for either of these benefits?
I'd have to ask the prosecutor for that information.
Okay. Have you ever seen one to your knowledge that you remember?
Yes.
You've seen my applications?
Yes, I have.
And were they for mother in care?
It was for survivors for JJ as well as for mother child in care as well.
So the application that I filled out was not for spousal benefit. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I'm sorry.
he can answer if he knows, if he recalls the answer.
Repeat the question, please.
I'm saying, so of the records that you saw, I did not have a spousal survivor benefit application.
The records I saw were an application for survivor's benefits for JJ as well as for child in care as well. Two different benefits that you were receiving.
Okay, so Is there an application for spousal benefit?
I'm only aware of the two benefits you're receiving, which was for JJ and for mother, child, and care.
So it could have been a mix-up of the employee. Is that what you're saying?
They would have been relying on information you would provide at that application appointment, August 12th, 2019.
And this is a filled out form application? Is that what you're saying? It's not just something you verbally give to the employee?
I believe you could do it online ahead of time, but you were present, I believe, on August 12th at the office to go through line by line, I believe, with that application.
So if I thought I was getting, if a person So in your investigation of this fraud, you have seen all of my applications, is that correct?
I reviewed any and all documents that we have in relation to JJ as well as to you receiving benefits on his behalf, correct?
And you do not recall seeing any spousal surviving benefit application, is that correct?
All that I recall seeing was, once again, the two applications, one for mother, child, and care, and one for JJ as well.
And isn't that a redundant benefit?
Which benefit?
The mother in child care and the child in care. Isn't that that's basically the same thing?
JJ had a benefit for himself solely.
Mm-hmm.
Then a second one to be mother, child, and care.
To take care of the child.
Correct. The child has to be under your care, custody, and control during that time period, correct?
So when you're receiving these Social Security benefits, they want them to be for the things that you stated previously, right?
I gave a few examples, but it is for the benefit of the child, correct?
Right. And it's supposed to be spent on food and clothes, and it could be spent on an electric bill, and it can be spent on rent. They want you to utilize that money on a monthly basis. Is that correct?
Correct. Or you could also conserve it for the child as well, but that is
An audit any time of your account to make sure that you're spending it on those correct things. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And they want it to be spent every month, and you can't really save it for college. Is that correct?
No.
So if an employee told that to a recipient, that would be incorrect?
The benefit is for the child. The money can be saved or spent on the child.
So if a recipient was told that all the money has to be spent every month on the care for the child and could not be saved for college because it is Social Security.
The objection sustained for it's straying into you testifying, ma'am.
So it is not your understanding that that benefit has to be spent every month. Is that correct?
Sustained.
So you are not aware of that?
Sustained.
Can I have a moment to confer?
Go ahead.
Mr. Sorry, you weren't present at the interview with me and the employee at the Social Security office on August 12th, were you?
I was not.
So you do not really know what was said. So you just saw the applications in the later time.
Yes.
What time about when you started investigating this fraud?
In about January 2020.
And who is your superior?
Is your question who my boss is, or?
Yeah.
I have a special agent in charge who's my immediate boss. Yeah.
Sustained.
Who assigned my case to you? That's my question.
It's not really relevant, but you can answer, sir.
Are you asking for the name, or what are you looking for as far as your question?
The name would be fine.
At the time, it was special agent in charge, Joe Rogers. He's now retired.
And he was your direct?
He was my ASAC at the time.
And that came to you in January of 2020?
Yes, correct.
Thank you. No more questions.
All right, redirect.
August 12th of 2019, when Ms. Vallow went to Social Security and had a meeting, what is the point of that meeting?
The point of that is for an applicant to come into Social Security, apply for benefits, and then have Social Security determine if they're eligible or not for those benefits.
You have up with you a paper that was provided to you earlier to review. After that meeting, was a letter sent to Mrs. Vallow relating to the answer she gave and the benefits she was requesting?
Yes.
Is that what you were looking at when you were looking at some of the information that she had provided?
Yes.
So in that letter that was sent to Ms. Vallow, what address was that sent to?
It would be the 1658 East Sherry Street in Santan Valley, Arizona.
And so that letter covers the answer she gave that we previously discussed of when she married Charles Vallow, for instance,
Correct.
children that they had,
Yes.
that they were still living together,
Yes.
and then discussed what she would be applying for.
Yes.
When you, in your understanding and having investigated these crimes, does Social Security just start deciding for people what benefits they feel they might want? Do they make decisions for them? Hey,
No.
you look like you might want these benefits.
Not at all. No.
So regardless of whether any of us understand why Social Security would give benefits for a child and for the mother of the child, if they're still married to the spouse, that is what you can get?
They would say, but ask the applicant what they are applying for, correct, as far as for that benefit.
So when a couple is married and they have a child together and one of those spouses dies, the other spouse may be entitled to benefits for the child. Is that correct?
Yes.
As well as benefits for them as the mother of that child.
Yes.
So in addition to the initial letter after that August 12th meeting, then Ms. Vallow was sent the second two letters, Exhibits 213 and 214, that showed her how much she was ultimately awarded.
Correct.
One of them, one letter was sent to her specifically for JJ,
Yes.
and the other letter was sent to her specifically for herself as the mother in care of JJ.
Yes.
And that's the one where we saw it was her name for JJ.
Yes.
In your investigation, you did not see any surviving spousal benefits.
I did not.
All you saw in looking through reams of documents was that Mrs. Vallow was receiving those two benefits that we've discussed.
Correct.
You were asked about when you began investigating this case, correct?
Yes.
And would those benefits for Lori Vallow have terminated when she became Lori Daybell?
Yes. Upon a remarriage, that mother child and care benefit would immediately cease.
But the benefits for JJ would have continued.
Correct.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Are there any questions for this witness from the jury? I see at least one coming down. I have a couple questions for you, sir. Were payments to Lori Vallow stopped after your investigation?
They were, yes.
And during your investigation, do you know if Lori Vallow notified Social Security of her new marriage?
She did not.
Based on those questions, does the defendant have any follow-up for this witness?
Can I?
Do you have any follow-up?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Sari, you said that I did not notify Social Security of my marriage
Correct?
that you know of.
To my knowledge, you have not? No.
Okay. So you don't know if in Hawaii I was at the Social Security office and notified them?
Sustain. It's, again,
But you're,
testifying.
so would you have all of the information from every office in that regard?
From our review of the records, there is no notification at all of you ever notifying Social Security of that marriage.
Of your, of the records that you had access to, is that correct?
From our review of these Social Security databases, which would encompass notifications, we have seen 0 notifications.
And what would you have to do to put in a notification?
An employee would have to go on the record and make a change or make a report of contact, that sort of thing.
And so that would go into a major database and then it would be available to you as well?
We would have access to view and see if there was any changes made. There were no changes made after August 2019 on your behalf.
So none were made in November, that to your knowledge?
There were none made.
And is that something that you would be made privy to
Yes.
in the course of your investigation?
Yes.
So it's not something that you could have just missed?
I did not miss it, correct?
Okay.
Redirect.
Thank you. So, to be clear, does Social Security use computer systems to keep all this data?
They do.
You don't just have pieces of paper lying around that maybe you miss?
Correct.
So whenever anything is updated anywhere in the country, it's put into a database that you were able to access?
Yes.
And you did access it?
Yes.
And you reviewed everything that was in there?
Yes.
And you at no point saw any information to indicate that any changes were ever made to those benefits after August of 2019?
Correct.
And Social Security was not advised that Ms. Vallow had been married in November of 2019?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, sir, you can step down. State, have another witness we can start?
I do.
Go ahead.
I may go get her.
All right, you're going to come right up here. Stand right right here in front of this bar, and my clerk will swear you in.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Robin Smith Scott.
I'm going to have you move up or pull down that mic so we can hear you a little better. Thank you. Where do you work?
I work at Banner Life Insurance Company,
How long have you worked there?
13 years.
What type of, well, let me start with what does Banner Life Insurance do?
We are strictly a life insurance company. Customers can purchase life insurance policies.
And what do you do for Banner Life Insurance?
I work in the claims department as a claims representative. I process death claims.
Have you previously had to testify before about a payout of policy?
Yes.
I'm going to start by asking some real general questions so we understand sort of life insurance. How does someone go about getting life insurance?
They could go through an agent. More recent years, you can apply online. There's information, you fill out an application, basic information regarding yourself. There could be some financial questions, health questions.
Okay. And you talked about an agent. What is an agent in there?
An agent is someone outside of our company, but they do business with us. They'll generally try to, find the best coverage and possibly best prices through, different companies for their clients.
When we're talking about life insurance, is there something called a policy owner?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that means?
Pretty much exactly what it states. The policy owner owns the policy. They are the ones that basically can make any changes to the policy during the insured's lifetime, such as they can relinquish ownership. So basically do an ownership change. They can change the beneficiary. They could decrease the value of the policy, if they chose to. They basically have complete control of the policy.
What's the difference between the policy owner and the insured?
So the insured, the policy covers that person's life in the event of that person's passing. The death benefit would be paid to the beneficiary, but the policy owner, if that person is different than is not the insured, again, the policy owner is the only one who can make changes to the policy.
So there are times where the policy owner and the insured are not the same?
Correct.
Can the policy owner and insured then be the same person?
Yes.
As well? Okay. And you said the policy owner is able to change the beneficiaries. What do we mean? What is a beneficiary?
The beneficiary is who will receive the death benefit in the event of the insured's death.
Okay. Can the insured, if they're not the policy owner, change the beneficiaries?
If they do not own the policy, they cannot make that change.
Can the beneficiary, if they aren't the policy owner, change anything about the life insurance policy?
No.
Can they, when someone passes away, who decides who will actually be paid out? Who makes that decision of who will get the benefits paid out?
Well, as us claims examiners, we are going to review the policy, any documents that have been submitted through the lifetime of that policy, and we are going to determine and confirm who the primary beneficiary of the policy is.
So if someone obtains a life insurance policy and initially has one beneficiary, they can later file some new forms and create and change that to a different. So you have to look through and make sure that you have the most recent beneficiary.
Correct.
When someone calls in to make a claim on a life insurance, I say so-and-so passed away, is it customary for claims adjusters like yourself at Banner Life to sort of take that information and then look into all these things to make sure you know all of the different changes that may have occurred?
Yes, that is our standard process.
Does Banner Life Insurance keep copies of all of those policies as part of sort of your normal business practice?
Yes.
And does Banner Life Insurance keep copies of any modifications to a person's life insurance policy as part of the business practice?
Yes.
If someone wants to modify who the beneficiary is, how do they go about doing that?
They would request a beneficiary change form. They can also access online if they are able to provide the proper security things through the website. But they would normally contact our customer service department, request a beneficiary change form, and complete it and return it. It is then reviewed by our customer service representatives to make sure it is completed appropriately. And if so, the change will be made. If not, then it's rejected.
Okay. Does a beneficiary modification form have to be notarized?
It depends on the amount of the policy. I believe anything that's 500,000 and above would need to be notarized.
So a policy for $1 million would require it to be notarized if you're changing the beneficiary?
Yes.
When people call in to the claims department requesting a payout, are those calls recorded?
Yes, they are.
And is that done in the normal course of business with Banner Life Insurance?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the life insurance policy with your company for Charles Vallow?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with how much that life insurance policy was for?
Yes.
How much was it for?
$1 million.
Prior to February 26th of 2019, who was the beneficiary of Charles Vallow's life insurance policy with Banner?
Prior to that date, Lori Vallow was the beneficiary.
So prior to February 26th of 2019, if Charles Vallow had passed away, would his wife Lori Vallow have gotten $1 million?
Correct.
In February of 2019, did Charles Vallow call Banner Life Insurance and request a beneficiary designation form?
He did.
Was one sent to him?
Yes, it was emailed to him.
And did Banner Life Insurance then receive a beneficiary designation form on February 26th of 2019 from Charles Vallow?
Yes.
Was that notarized?
Yes.
And in that beneficiary designation form, did Charles Vallow change the beneficiary for his life insurance?
Yes.
Who did he make the primary beneficiary for the life insurance?
His sister, Ethel K. Woodcock.
Your Honor, if I can have my paralegal approach with 215.
Go ahead.
Looking at 215, do you recognize that both as an affidavit authenticating the Banner beneficiary designation form change from February 26th of 2019?
Yes.
That we were just discussing. In there, is there also a CD?
Yes.
Does that contain a recording of your call with Lori Vallow on July 15th of 2019?
Yes.
Would you like to listen to that to verify that?
Yes, please.
And do you recognize that as the call from July 15th of 2019?
I do recognize the call.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 215.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
215 is admitted.
And if we could
All
perhaps
right.
break at this point
Okay.
since it's 12:01, otherwise it'll be playing for a
All
while.
right, let's take our lunch recess for the jury. Please remember the admonition will resume with the jury at 1:30.
All rise for the jury.
During, yeah, you can step down, ma'am. We attempted a sidebar during the previous witness. There were a number of questions. We had some technical difficulty with our headsets, so some of it didn't get captured by the court reporter. So for the record, on juror question form number 8, there were 3 questions. The first question was, were payments to Lori Vallow stopped after your investigation, which we did ask the last witness. Neither side objected to that question. The second question, if an applicant lied on an application, would an applicant have to pay back money they received? Both the state and the defense agreed that that question should not be asked, and it was not asked. The third question, did Lori notify Social Security of her remarriage or new marriage? The state did not object to, the defendant did object to that question as to its relevance. The state's argument was that it went toward motive. The court did ultimately ask that question of the witness. I think that's a accurate recitation of what happened at the sidebar. Does the state want to add anything or correct anything? Does the defendant want to add or correct anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Secondly, before I forget, I'm going to order that the clerk file the email that was sent by the state to my staff advisory, the legal assistant for the defendant on Friday, April 11th at 4:35 p.m. and that's the email regarding the service of the subpoena on Bobby Vallow. Can we take up these motions that we referenced this morning at 1:15? We have a time to read those over lunch?
I will try to, Your Honor.
All right, so we'll address those at 1:15. Anything else from the state? Defense?
Not at this time.
All right, we'll be recessed till 1:15.
clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.